A very good evening to all of my guests and those who have joined me as a audience from my side. It's a heartiest welcome to you all. This is our second panel discussion. Last time that we did was 29th of January, and that was regarding the mother tongue versus the English language for the children. Now we have taken another topic related to the students only, and this is one of the greatest topic. Everybody is talking about this, and solution for this is really earnestly needed because the suffering for the children has been a lot. Everybody is trying to find the solution. Not only the individual level, but the government level is also trying to find the solution for this one. For today's program, the format will be like this, that I will be just giving a brief description, rather we can say the presentation about the topic. It will take 5 minutes only. And after that, I will be introducing all of my guests, learned guests over here, who will be answering our question related to our topic today. And then after that, the question and answer session will begin. It will continue till 7:35. And after that, I will allowing the audience to ask question to any one of our panelists. And finally, with the concluding remark, it will finish by 8 p.m. So this is our format for the discussion of today. Now, as we know that the topic of our discussion today is learning loss during COVID-19 and the strategies to compensate it. This is one of the biggest problems, not for us individually, it's for the society, for the community, for the government, for the parent. This is a common problem for each and every one. So myself is Dr. Riaz Ahmed, and my affiliation is the Emirates Aviation University. I'm a mathematics professor over there. And I'm here to moderate this program. So hopefully, if you just abide by these rules, then the program will go on very nicely. So in the first stage of the program is that I'm going to give you a brief discussion. It is just to bring you all home into the topic. So let's now see my welcome Dr. Lata. She has also joined. She is the principal of JSS International School. This is one of the, we were missing as the diversity. We were all male member. So one female member is completing our diversity requirement, and she actually belongs to the school. So she is fulfilling our decorum, you can say. So I'm going now to just give you a small presentation of the related to the topic, and it goes like this. So topic for today's discussion is learning loss during COVID-19 and the strategies to compensate it. As we know that the corona has not only affected the education, learning and teaching and learning process, it has affected to almost all the part of the human life. So I will be mentioning quite few over there just to create the necessity for concentrating only on education right now, which is our main topic. So you can see over here that the global economic output due to COVID-19 is slashed by 8.5 trillion over this 2 years. Pandemic also has pushed more than 34 million people into extreme poverty by 2020, which has increased and gone into trillions. The change in global GDP has also expected to be by 2022 to increase to 4.5%. The number of unemployed persons worldwide from 1991 to 2021 and projection until 2022, you can see here in the graph, is 220 million. And economic contraction in India especially and worldwide during, so I was talking about economic contraction in India and the world during COVID-19. Here the graph shows that India, it was 150 from this scale as defined over here, as compared to the world, which is much below, which is less than 110, and also the rest of the world is much smaller than this. So the problem for the India was a little more, and here is coming now a chart which is giving you before Corona's description about the reading levels by grade to the students in the school. So this is a very good information. From standard 1 to standard 8, these were the abilities which has been tested and recorded, and here is the data for that. So one of the category is cannot recognize letter as yet, 40.3 for the grade 1, and for a grade 6, 40.2. Similarly, can read text as at standard 1 level, but not higher. For the standard 1 is 2.5, and for 6 is 20.5. Now in 2020, this has changed to this level, that the grade 1 student cannot recognize letter as yet is increased to 56.8. So all these categories has been seen to be increasing, thereby saying the damage that has done due to the corona period. Now these were all outside. Now we come to our main things, impact of coronavirus on education. So just a brief here I'm giving, the more we will be discussed with you all. So more than 1 billion students were thrown into very uncertain waters as the pandemic put a halt to in-person classes and courses. From primary schools to PhD programs, students across the globe are experiencing the altering effects of coronavirus as classroom move online and courses curriculum step into the summer. Now, government level, school level, they have tried to mitigate this loss through organizing through online learning. But there also were some issues, the technical difficulties, as you see just now see, we were meeting with some technical difficulty. This was a regular phenomenon because both the teacher and the students were not trained. So this was very, very imminent and regular practice. And because of this, when there is no light, load shedding is there. So some disruption was taking place. So schedule was also deferred. And this way, the learning process was delayed substantially, and it was affecting to the parents at the same time, because parents were supposed to be present while the children are taking classes. So this was also a problem over there. Finally, I would like to give a final picture that 76% of Indian students face learning losses, which is our main topic. And this is the report by UNICEF. One of the representative of the UNICEF told that the global pandemic has impacted children in so many ways. Education is a critical area, along with nutrition, immunization, mental and physical health, and protection of the children. As we hope to recover from the nearly 2 years of pandemic that took away school educations from countless number of children, it became essential to move forward with a plan of recovering education. From here, our now job will start, because this is what we are going to discuss through our esteemed panelist. So this was the just creating a background for the discussion, fruitful and beautiful discussions. Now I will be moving to our next stage, where I'm going to ask my panelists to introduce themselves one by one. I will be first asking Professor Tariq Sharif Yunus, who is advisor for Quality Assurance and Accreditation Committee of University of Victoria, London. So you are requested, sir, to introduce yourself, and you can give your all affiliation, whatever achievement you have done, you can share with us. So over to Dr. Sharif, Yunus Sharif.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me to join this meeting, actually, this seminar. And thank you for all the attendees to work together in order to make education better, inshallah, and better by our experience and our suggestions. We hope that. This is very good, actually, topic, and we need it not only in India, but everywhere in the world. As you know, I'm currently working in, as an expert and advisor for the governance and strategic planning in Saudi Arabia. In the same time, I'm working as well as advisor for quality assurance and accreditation in University of Victoria, London. My main job there, my main task is to qualify the programs, master degrees or PhDs later on, to meet the standards of QIA, Quality Assurance Authority in UK. Actually, I have a lot of achievements in the quality assurance for education and for higher education as well. I did a lot of work, and I led this kind of work in different universities. And even I left many probational, issues from the bachelor degree and master degrees when I work in United Arab Emirates. One of the universities or colleges we work together with Dr. Riyaz. We learned from our colleagues and from the environment, and even from such, meetings everywhere. So we learn and we build our experience based on such contributions. Thank you so much for that. And I give the platform to Dr. Riyaz in order to give the opportunity for our colleagues to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sharif. I would like to add one thing here, that he's a great scholar. He has published many papers, and myself has published together with him 3 papers. So he is one of the great researchers. Now over to Dr. Tariq Rahim Sumro. Please introduce yourself and give all of your achievements, what you want to share with us. This is important for all to listen from you. Dr. Tariq Rahim Sumro, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Riyad. So I'm Tariq Rahim Sumro. And actually, I'm a computer scientist. My bachelor's, master's in computer science from Pakistan, and my PhD from China, again in computer science. I have been serving since 2000 in academia. I served in Pakistan and then almost 14 years in UAE. Now back to home, Karachi, again Pakistan. I'm serving in academia. I've been in different roles, working as a faculty member, researcher, administrative course, HOD, dean of faculty, and head of academic affairs. Now currently serving as acting rector of institute. Around 7,000 students we have at our institute. So, my whole journey now, focusing on education, promoting education. I'm also volunteer in IEEE. I'm serving as a senior member and vice chair in for Karachi section, and the area coordinator for the Computer Society. Over to you, Dr. Riyad.
Thank you very much, Doctor. He has also published with me, and I have published with him 2 important topics, which is quality in higher education, which is very famous nowadays, and also faculty retention, which is one of the most important topic also for every universities. Now I would like Dr. Muhammad Azim to introduce himself. Over to you, sir. Dr. Muhammad Azim.
All right, so thank you very much, Dr. Riyaz, and thank you very much all the participants for inviting me in this forum. As Dr. Riyaz has mentioned, that we are all from the educational background. Most of my last 30 years is in higher education, and I do not have any significant achievement that I can highlight, but I'm a typical academician, a lecturer, professor, and I have acquired the PhD from Management and Science University, Malaysia, and it is in business and management, and specialization is in human resource management. My master degree is in economics from Punjab University, Lahore, and I have also acquired professional certifications in the data science. Although I'm not the data person, but my interest is in business analytics, so that actually encouraged me to go towards that certification. It was from Harvard University. My research interest is on the leadership, creativity, and the learning organization, and it is not the systemic lens, rather it is more cultural. I see them as the 3 subcultures in the organization. So in the broader sense, it can be seen, my interest can be seen as the organizational culture towards the development of the performance of human resource, which ultimately it's connected to the performance of the organizations. And this topic was quite appealing to me, although I do not have as such any academic background regarding to speak on the education topic. But I will share my experience whatsoever I have during these last couple of years. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Azim. All the panelists here are above 40 and 50 years. So if they have not experienced themselves at the now, they have their children. So they are gaining this experience through their children. So you are now having two stakes into the education systems as a parent and as your children and as an instructor as well. So now I will be handing over to Dr. Wasim to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. A very good evening. I'm really very happy to be here with you and joining this discussion from the learned people. And I'm sure I will go home or stay home actually with many ideas on this topic. A little about me. I'm from India, and I have degrees like Alim and Fadil from the traditional institutions, as you may be knowing. And after that, I earned a master's in Arabic language and literature from Aligarh Muslim University, and then a PhD in Islamic studies from Hamdard University, New Delhi. And I was the department head of Islamic studies in Preston University, Ajman, for about 10 years. And then I taught in the American University in the Emirates. And currently I am in the Emirates Aviation University and teaching courses like Islamic culture and cross-cultural studies and critical thinking and certain other courses sometimes. And my area of interest is also very much matching with Dr. Azim's, like leadership, innovation, creativity. All right, so that's what, is a little bit about myself. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Wasim. Now over to Dr. Lata Nakra. Could you please introduce yourself, Dr. Lata Nakra?
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Riaz. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be here among all the very learned scholars. A very good evening to all of you. About myself, what can I say? I have not thought much about it, but all I can say is I've spent about 4 decades in the field of education, almost 40 years now. And I have been always with the school. I started with university, but then moved into school, and I have crossed every rung of the ladder. Was a teacher first and the head of the department, a teacher of the primary, a teacher of the senior secondary, became a head of the department, a supervisor, a headmistress, a vice principal, and now I'm the principal. So I have crossed every rung of the ladder. And so that is why today where I sit as a principal, in a way I can humbly say that I'm able to fathom any problem and every problem that anybody faces across the school, because I've been there and I've done that. So apart from that, my passion actually is more with students. I'm very closely connected with students. I keep myself connected with students. I take classes even today, in spite of being very busy at school, but I make it a point to walk into the class. And my language, my specialization is English literature and language. So I go and teach language and literature to the students of wherever there's no teacher, or otherwise I commit myself to students of grade 12. Having said that, as I said, what I'm very obsessed with at school is student leadership. I want to explore and exploit any and every opportunity which will give a platform for students to develop their leadership programs. So as a result of this, I have started many programs in school, like, we started the Formula 1 in schools, we started the Toastmasters International. So all this gives them a good push into their leadership, and we see them blossoming, their personalities blossoming. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction, because these are leaders of tomorrow, and their communication and their personality development is of utmost importance. So that much about me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lata. Your introduction of yourself has given me opportunity. Why not to start the question from you? Because you are the most relevant person in the field. So I will be picking up you to start the discussion because you are the most relevant person with respect to the school education. So now I will invite Mirza Zaim to introduce yourself, please. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Saab.
Yes.
Very good evening to everybody. Assalamu alaikum. I'm really glad to be in this panel with such esteemed academicians and people working in the industry. Especially, I'm really glad to share the panel with Dr. Tariq. I have heard a lot about him in Zabis, Dubai. He is a great academician and a great teacher in the class. So glad to see you, sir.
Thank you.
Myself,
Thank you.
I'll introduce myself. I'm a computer scientist. I have a master's in computer science from Fast National University, Karachi, Pakistan. I belong to Pakistan, and I have been working in academia since 9 years now. So I worked in Pakistan, and then I came to UAE in 2017. I joined Zabis Dubai. After that, I started working in Emirates Aviation University. You can see our campus in my background, a very beautiful campus in Dubai. I work at the School of Mathematics and Data Science, and I look after software engineering, data science, and computer science programs. So that's pretty much about it. My area is data science. My research is all related to data science and personalizing things for people through computer science algorithms. So I'm really glad to talk about stuff we are going to talk about today, and hope the session goes very well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Mirza. He is one of our colleague in the Emirates Aviation University, including Dr. Wasim. Now, finally, I would like to ask Tayyib, could you please introduce yourself? Tayyib Nomani.
My name is Mohammad Tayyib Nomani. I am from Calcutta. I am associated to the Department of Urdu in Calcutta at Bhairav Ganguly College. And I am a direct student of Riaz sir. Riaz sir is my teacher, and I am fortunate enough that I am a part of this panel discussion. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
I am HOD of Department of Urdu at my college, and I'm also associated with Ravindra Bharati University, and I'm a teacher there.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Tayyib. Now, we have already finished the 2 stages. Now we are moving into the 3rd stage, which is the actual part of this all program. So let's now go enter into the 3rd stage, where I will be starting asking question about our problems. So today's topic actually comprised of the 2 things. The first part of this is the problems that the school to university students are facing now because of this pandemic. Actually, there is no one to blame for this because this is a pandemic, but there are 5 stakeholders to this problem. The number 1 stakeholder is the child itself. The second one is the institution. It may be school, college, university. The third one is the parent. The fourth one is the society, and finally the government. So as I said to you, we are not going to blame to anyone. All of us together can make a difference to the problem in solving the problem that the children are facing due to the corona. So I will be now asking first question to Dr. Lata, because she is an administrator of the school. So according to her, what could she will be able to do in order to improve the present situation of the children? They are lagging in numeracy, they are lagging in language, they are lagging in many things, because 2 years of language, 2 years of learning loss is a great loss. So I would like to ask her to give us her opinion in this regard, and then I will be putting the same question to all others. So over to Dr. Lata Nakra.
Thank you, Dr. Riaz. Yes, actually, this 2 years has really been a dip in learning in a big way, although we cannot, as you very rightly said, no one to be blamed here. What we need to do is to see how to save the situation now. First, we need to know what are the problems that we were affected by, and then how we can go about solving one by one. With regards to students, firstly, their social skills were very badly affected. Like I speak of the little children, the kindergarten children, the lower primary children, their social skills, they really forgot how to interact with each other. And not just interact with each other, they forgot the basic things of how to open their bags and close their bags. It was something very strange for us to note that, these are the impacts of that 2 years of learning from home has had. So it was social skills very badly affected. So with the kindergarten and the lower primary children, we were focusing more on giving them time with each other. But at the same time, we had the constraints of, them being masked and then the social distancing and all that. So within those constraints, we do try to see to put them together, maybe in the ground or somewhere, give them opportunities that they connect with each other. That connect has really affected their minds in a very, very, very significant way. See, studies can wait. Studies can, be tackled later. But first, for them to connect with each other, to come to a mental stability, to come to terms with the situation as it is. So that became very, very important for us. So that is how we were, of course, focusing on with the smaller children, the younger children. As you rightly said, reading was, you showed us a slide where reading, this spoke of, reading was very badly affected. And reading and writing, not as in the quality, the composition of writing, but physical writing. They just forgot how to write. Students became so slow in their writing. So we have special programs in the school. We are focusing just on the reading skills because reading is very, very important. And, they say that this 2 years of lag that has happened, it will take them, the present grade 2 child, by the time he reaches grade 12, it takes that much time for this impact, for this gap to be filled. So this is a very huge challenge we are facing. So we are exploring different programs where reading is taken up in a very serious way. Reading is taken up in a fun way. In every possible way, we are exploring reading, and we want to track down where the gap is and how we can fill that gap. Another thing we looked at is, okay, now that they have come back, now we can't teach them the entire curriculum. So the other area we had to tackle was curriculum. So we went back and we reworked on the curriculum because we can't teach them that volume when they have missed so much. So we worked on the curriculum and all, and we came down to the bare necessary syllabus. We cut it down and we brought out just what they really need to know when they go to grade 12, and we came from top down, we tapered it down. And that's how we trimmed their curriculum. That was very, very necessary. And so having worked on the curriculum, then we have come up with something very innovative that is called a retrieval or a recovery curriculum. So as soon as the students came in, we started the retrieval curriculum. That is, we identified the gaps in learning. It became very necessary for us to first have an assessment. Like, where are the gaps? So we need an assessment, and we identified the gaps. And then once the gaps were identified, this recovery curriculum, wherever the gaps were, so those gaps were filled up. So the assessment became very, very important as soon as they came back to learning. And of course, in all this, a very, very major thing was their well-being. All this had to be done, keeping their well-being intact. So big sessions, lot of priority, lot of importance to health and safety and to well-being. So we had well-being not just for the students, we had well-being for the staff, because the teachers had gone through a very, very difficult time. Actually, teachers, nobody knows about the difficult times the teachers went through, because they had to manage their homes, they had to manage their children. At the same time, they had to be in the classroom. They went through the actual torture. So we had to have very strong well-being sessions for them with our counseling department, well-being sessions for the parents also, because parents also were very badly affected. They had to be at home because the children were online. And again, because the children were online, as I told you, with the junior children, with the smaller children, their social skills were affected and they were mentally destabilized. But when with the senior children, of course, they were also very badly affected, but they went into another area of, of getting distracted because of online learning. So they would keep their cameras off and all that. And we didn't know what they were doing. So, they were getting into the unwanted areas of internet and also those areas, those problems also. They got addicted to gaming. So this was the flip side of it. And so it was a very, very, all in all, it was an overhaul of, getting the system back in place. And we had to work very closely with the counseling department completely. Even now we are. It's not that it's over yet, because in the school, it's going to take us a long time. We have to be very realistic, but very, very patiently, very, very consistently, we are moving ahead and addressing all these problems, because all these problems are there simultaneously. You see, there, it's not that one is there and we tackle one and then move to the other. No, simultaneously, all these problems are still existing in schools. And we have put aside different committees to be handling all these issues so that we don't neglect anything, so that nothing escapes our sight. So that is how we are trying to once again contain the entire school, and we are trying to hold them all back together with a lot of patience, with a lot of compassion, with a lot of empathy. I mean, that is something, I personally make sure that, there's no negativity in the school. There is no irritation in the school. There's no anger in the school, because, all of us are going through a difficult time. So I think if that has answered your question, sir.
You gave all the information that that was relevant to the problem, and we are really, really very, very happy to listen to you. You have given some important information like the loss of reading skills. You have already planned how to improve it. You have also pointed out which is called the social skill. This is one of the great problems. There is a preschool students, when joining to the school, they have problem of associating each other. They have forgotten even how to take the tiffin bags and luggage bag.
Yeah.
They have forgotten. You have to integrate them into the education system. This is one of the biggest challenge, as you talked about. Also, to address the problem, you have to start with reframing the curriculum. This is one of the important things that every teacher or every institution should do, because you are not important to teach everything. Teach the main courses which is relevant to this. Other things they can catch up later on. So like the language, mathematics, and to some extent science, you must be emphasizing upon and giving them extra. Also, you have to find some extra period for the student to learn by themselves, curtailing the 5 minutes time for each period, and you can develop one class where the students will learn to study by themselves. This is one of the characteristics, one of the ability that every student has to grow up to meet with this, because not everything can be done through the school and through the parent, through everyone. So children has to learn now the self-study ability. So you have given a lot of things. Now I would like to pass on to Dr. Tariq Sharif Yunus. Doctor, as a professor, what you have witnessed in your university or college while teaching during the corona, please enlighten us. Dr. Tariq Sharif Yunus, please.
Thank you so much for Dr. Lata. She covered everything. But, we can extend this discussion based on our experience,
Yes.
If you go to the research findings, through the researchers, the scholars, they did a lot of research on 2020, okay, when the COVID is emerged at that time. You find that the impact was very high, around 90%, 80%, and so on. But 2021, you find that the same scholars or the similar research work, they found that, it is not as much. Became the percentages, the 60%, 50%. And then nowadays, when the e-learning is a familiar technology, especially in the third world countries, this kind of impact is decreased. significantly decreased. Okay, this issue is is a positive for our countries, because when we talk again about this issue, that the experience of scholars, the experience of schools and how to manage this kind of learning, it becomes mature now, mature enough now, as Lata, Mrs. Lata talked about. Okay, they're mature enough now. We have to improve it as well. By the way, the e-learning is not new, and it is not come as a subject for the research or as a problem as a new one. No, but if you go back to the experience of the American schools, American universities and schools, and MIT or Harvard or like that, if you go back to the some schools in Britain and France, Europe as a whole, you find that this issue is started very early. Based on what? Because based on educating students from the early stage in the education system, that they have to, for instance, the teacher asks them that you have to draw the apple as a homework. When they came with their homework, okay, they asked them how you approve that this apple, this paint is yours. So they taught them how to make plagiarism in action, how they make, for instance, assessment if the students say copy paste or not. This kind of education and this kind of culture is very important, and it is very late come to our countries. So e-learning is not, emerged because of COVID or this pandemic, but the education in itself should be changed. Their approach and their system in order to make this is a solution to enhance the culture courses or seminars or through media or the communication, that this is a part of the education. For this reason, even if you find that in MIT, Technology in the United States of America, they have a hybrid, system learning system. People, they attend face-to-face or by remote. In our country, when I taught in some universities, such as Arab Open University or our universities in the Gulf region, they have a hybrid. Some students, they attend face-to-face, others on remote classes. And remote classes is well, occupied with the system, the very advanced system, in order to record the lecture and to make it available to the face-to-face and the remote lessons. So that this solution is, we have to go for this issue, not only to go for what's the impact. The impact is, there is impact, whether it's normal or not normal, because of 3 points. I just point out those 3 points. I'm not going to take all the time for discussion, for talking, to give other my colleagues to their experience. Learning sources. Now, in the education, in current period, the schools mostly they're using, for instance, only the textbook, right? Through e-learning. The student should be stick to the textbook. This kind of teaching, or this is a kind of, making this source one single source or maybe two sources available, it is not valid for e-learning, right? They have to give them a chance. They give them a multi, learning sources, especially the interactive sources. Not only to give them that this textbook, you have to download it, and you have to go for this page and this page and this. Since our childhood, when we taught in this way, we find that this is not the right way to make, the analytical skills or analytic skills or synthesis skills to be working in action. The other thing is attendance rate. The policies now in the many countries, they thought that when they make attendance rate very low is better. But the researchers, they prove that this is an opposite. Because e-learning or even in class learning, Both of them are systems, but you have exactly to be ready, to invest in the system that it is the right time, in the right time, and the right choice of the people. In the pandemic, for instance, not the problem with e-learning, but the problem of fear of their families, how they join the class, and there is no secure, hygiene factors.
Correct.
This is the issue.
Correct.
This is the second thing. The third thing is the study duration. The study duration, sometimes they said 3 days in class and 3 days in the house. Do you think that any validation for these decisions? So many other factors we have to discuss. We have to stand on those factors and to be, innovative lecturers, innovative, management in order to find what's the best for this period or another. In our universities, you remember, Doctor, when we come to suggest that e-learning should be part of the education in the classical education system. Many people, they refuse because the teachers themselves, they don't know how to use the e-learning. And then at that time, you remember that, at that time, we asked them to attend the workshop. And this system is backdated 20 years back in other countries, right?
Yes.
So you have to strengthen the system, you have to strengthen to make available for the infrastructure of e-learning system and to educate people and to change the culture in itself. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You have rightly pointed out about you have already suggested us while we were in the university about the e-learning, but that time nobody listened to us. But as you know, the necessity is the mother of invention. Now it is going to be compulsory for everyone. Like when people who is not ready to walk, just leave behind him a dog, he will not only walk, he will run. So exactly similar situation is with us. We are under the necessity.
We have, Doctor, we have to learn from the best practice. If you see that, sorry for that, I interrupted you in this talking. If you just see, for instance, in the Netherlands, if you see for instance, in Holland, you see that system in there, they are used, this system before.
Yes, very good.
For instance, in New Zealand. It's okay.
Yes, now, Doctor, the e-learning process, while you talk about the UAE, I think in UAE, the online system has really compensated all the damages that Corona has done for the higher education. Now, when I'm going to teach now in person in the class, the student tells me that don't teach only on the board. They ask me that you put us in the team and record the note, because now I'm giving them 3 information. I'm giving them on the Moodle, I'm giving them PDF, I'm giving them online lecture through the OneNote. I'm also giving them recording. So they have become used to now. They don't want to give up this methods. So it is because in UAE it becomes successful because the large number of people, rather maximum people, or rather you can say UAE is leading in the world where the electronic gadgets each and every people have. So this has not affected the education in UAE. But what about the privileged, underprivileged people back home in India? There are 53% people only has access by 2022. They will be access to their smartphone. So how will they be able to use this e-learning resources? So there is problem for those people because not every country are developed as the country like UAE and other America and others. So what is necessity now here? That's why I told you there are 5 stakeholders. So all will have to come together in order to solve this issue. So government should work to provide these smartphones to everyone. And as a parent, we should take some responsibility. As an institution, they will do something as Dr. Lata Nakra pointed out. It can be flip learning, where the students will be coming less to that pay attention than altogether. So there are many ways.
The point for that, the solution. Inequality assurance, we have, summative and formative, right? So for the formative, they don't concentrate on the summative only. You have to go for the to increase the percentage of formative, and then you have to assess the the notional hours that the student has to work in the class,
Correct,
and to
correct.
submit not on the e-learning only,
Yes, yes,
but
for
only
everything.
we have different systems. This will solve a part of the problem, right?
Inshallah.
I'm not going just to make summative.
No.
Formative is important, right?
Yes,
And
correct.
to move from teaching knowledge to teaching know-how to apply the knowledge, especially in the
Yes.
school level, right?
Yes,
And
you're
even
right.
in
Right, you're right.
this is quality assurance, solving this problem. Thank you.
Yes, correct, Doctor. He rightly pointed out that so far we have been testing the ability of the student in a summative way. Now it is not going to work anymore. So now over to Dr. Tariq Rahim Sumro. What's your opinion about the improvements that you seem in higher education can be made? Give us some, because you are the rector of a university. What are we actually doing for addressing these problems to the student that they are facing? So over to Dr. Tariq Sumro. Your time, please.
Thank you, Dr. Riyaz. So actually, I just want to say few things, and then before coming to your question, answering your question, the topic was learning loss.
Yes.
I rather say that yes, there is a less learning loss, but I believe there is a more learning gain. Okay, I will prove this in a minute.
Correct.
There's a lot, of course, there's a gain also on the other hand. You also pointed out 5 stakeholders. So you said, okay, we cannot blame on these 5 stakeholders, but you forget the main important stakeholder, that is the faculty, that is the teacher, that is you and me. Parents, students, institute, government, society. No doubt that they don't, we don't blame them, but we blame ourselves. We are the stakeholder. We did big mistake and we did not learn. Now I'm coming to what our esteemed colleague said. As Dr. Lata said that in the school, what happened, they cut the syllabus. This proved, everywhere this happened. This proved that some of our syllabus was not relevant. We were not ready to understand that each and every point is not supposed to be taught in the class. That means some irrelevant material curriculum was part of our game. Okay. Also, as she mentioned, one more important point, that social escape. But I will be, if you remember, one of my paper when we were together in the UAE, one of my paper on the social media, on the smartphone, said that it was in 2013. The research said that students are the kids who are feeling, social escape from their, relatives, from their, if the relatives are coming to the home, they sit and they comment on the social media rather than saying hello to them in front of them physically. So that is not the problem of the pandemic. That is the problem of the overall social media impact. Okay, now I'm coming to your point. Now, if we look at what happened, we were lucky in our institute. We were having our 5-year strategic planning, so to overcome so many issues. One of our big issue was makeup classes. I'm just giving you simple examples that makeup class, that means we need to reschedule students timing. Students are busy with other classes. So we planned that why not we started a synchronous mode of makeup class where we upload our content and we upload our content on the LMS system, and the students are going to, whenever they are free, they can going to go through this, and we will ask you questions from that content, and the students are going to learn. So luckily, it was a few months before the pandemic, and then suddenly pandemic came, and then we have to move towards LMS to save our life. Now, if we look at the situation, actually, our system, our faculty, me, you, all, we are here. We were not ready to understand that something can happen. We are all traditional. We want to go physical into the class and talk to the students, force them to memorize, and then reproduce in the exam. This was our culture. But now some of us understand that no, this is not going to work now. The mechanism is changed. And now we have to understand that we should live with this pandemic. We cannot say pandemic is over now, back to class. No, don't think, please. My humble broadcast, my humble point is don't think like this. We need to understand that we have to live with this and we have to find out the way how to teach to our students, whether they are in a synchronous mode with us, physical or online, or they are in a synchronous mode with us, physical or online, whatever the mechanism is. So we have to understand that we have to change our methodology, our teaching methodology. We have to learn the tools and techniques, like Dr. Riaz was saying that now students are guiding. Dr. Riaz is a mathematician, he's not a computer scientist, so he's maybe not aware of the tools and their importance, their technicality now in the beginning of this, making holes, making goals. These are few small things, but Dr. Riaz is maybe not aware. But on the other hand, Dr. Riaz, changed himself. He adopted the change. Now he become the expert in using this tool. Now he's today hosting with the Zoom tool. No, problem is that as a teacher, as a faculty member, we were not ready for this kind of pandemic. And maybe I'm thinking we will be facing so many other challenges in the future. So we have to understand that, yes, we lost something and we have to overcome this loss, but we gained a lot of things in this pandemic. We are the one who saw the pre-pandemic time and during pandemic time, and we are the one who are going to see post-pandemic time. I don't know if we have time or not. Over to you, Dr. Sam, if you want.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor. You have rightly covered the stakeholder that I mentioned, a teacher and faculty. You already addressed the problem, what a faculty should do, and also while in answering the question raised by Dr. Lata, self-learning is one of the most important, that every student has to do that one, and a university or the school or the government must take a step to train these faculty members in order to cope with the new curriculum that they are going to develop in order to solve this problem. So training to the faculty is also one of the important points. Of course, we have been in the past and we have not been doing, but because of the requirement, after the training, we will surely be able to adapt. Actually, we are faculty, we love our children, we will surely be able to do, and it comes out due to our affection relation with the students. So thank you very much, Dr. Tariq. You raised a very good point about the responsibility of the faculty. Now I will be moving to Dr. Azim. You might not be having experience with the school, but you are must be having children in the school. So could you please give me some of the ideas that you think are very relevant to address the problem of the school children? And you are free to answer your experiences, what you have gone through in the university. So over to Dr. Muhammad Azim. Your turn, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Riaz. My all children, they have completed even universities. So I agreed with you. I think these issues, whether it is, we cannot draw the clear-cut line between whether it is the issues different in higher education than the schools. Obviously, the learning process is the similar, although the level of education is different from foundation to the more research oriented, but almost it is same. When I was thinking about this topic this morning, so I was thinking that what approach I should take, because this is a new phenomena for me. But I'm really grateful for Dr. Lata and Dr. Tariq Sumro, Dr. Tariq Yunus, and they have done a lot of my job already, and they have provided me the lot of input, the raw material, which is the practical evidence, to structure something, it is very important. We must have some on-ground issues and realities, and some evidence should be there. So what I can contribute, I'm not going to repeat most of the brilliant point our learned members have already contributed. I just allow me to structure their point of view. To structure the model, this is very important that first of all we have to understand what is meant by the learning loss. Right? We can take many directions, and if you try to find out, every author has taken a different approach. From my point of view, what I have learned from the literature, two clear-cut definitions that come in front of us. Number one, some authors, they simply speak in terms of absolute scale. Like there is 10% learning loss or this much learning loss. So that we call it absolute. We can say decline in the knowledge and skill. The definition which I like most, and I have brought that point, it is from Pierre et al. To 2021. It's very recent. And he's trying to say that this loss is the actual learning loss, is the loss in the decline in the progress rate of the students. Students before COVID, they were progressing whatsoever level they are. So there is a decline in the rate of growth, rate of return. So we should see the learning loss from both perspectives, whether it is absolute or it is the relative measure. Now, in the similar article, there is another article which is Robin and Anthony again in 2021. And I suggest that it's worth reading. And this is the systematic review. And they have provided a brief data, and I just want to go on it. They have used the standard deviation to explain what the learning loss is. And in the Belgium, for example, they have mentioned that in the 9 weeks lockdown, the standard deviation increased when this difference is the loss actually from 0.06 to 0.29. It's a big change. Whereas in Netherlands and Germany, in the 8.5 weeks, it is 0.05 standard deviation to 0.09 standard deviation. So it is not as much as it was in Belgium. Switzerland averaging to 0.20, USA 0.18, and also in USA, another measure was introduced. It is 5 to 10 point decline in the percentile. Without all these measurement and all these discussions, I try to structure it around the two factors. One is the qualitative impact of the learning loss, and other is the quantitative aspect. So quantitatively, we can produce any measure, and it is good to make the sense. But the qualitatively, what I feel, as all other members, they have provided enough evidence for that. Number one, what I consider in the higher education, the major factor, it is we could not work on the personality development of the students during this period. We could not really contribute to the change in behavior that otherwise was possible. There is a loss in the motivation level of the students, and because there are certain motivational factors were absent. And as Dr. Lata has also mentioned, and other members also endorsed, the lack of concentration, that was the challenge. And another important factor is the impact of peer influence. That was not there in the remote learning. So what structure I would like to say, and I will fully agree with other members, that it is the combination of both tactical approaches as well as the strategic approaches. So perhaps last year, I remember, in 2020, I remember in the American University in UAE. So we were sitting at the cafeteria, and suddenly the notification popped into our email that from tomorrow you are going at home, no more classes in the university. So it was quite the new experience for all of us. And that was what the universities and institutions were doing at that time. Because of the high degree of uncertainty, all of us, whether faculty, students, parents, all stakeholders, it was a tactical approach, like more firefighting approach. we were trying to understand the phenomena, what is happening, and very short-term planning was done and try to minimize the losses. But now in 2021, the strategy is different. It is to recover that loss. There is certain degree of clarity available. So we cannot be in the state of emergent strategy, rather we have to be perspective. So when we are going to recover the loss, we should not forget that the students' recovery on the students' learning loss is not possible if the anchor, it is the ground, is completely ignored. So I consider the two factors, being the two players, and we have to focus on both. Number one, the financial loss of the institutions, especially the private institutions. If we will ignore them, we cannot work on the recovery of the loss of the students. So both angles we have to consider. So we have to, I agree again with Dr. Lata, what she has done in our school, that we should first identify case to case each and every student to try to identify what is the nature of loss, both qualitative as well as qualitative, and then set our strategic goals, and then adopt both tactical measures as well as some long-term planning, say 1-year plan or 6 months plan, action plan, and try to resolve those issues. The areas, I just need 1 more minute. The areas that we need to focus, from my experience, it is the availability of more access to the digital resources in terms of availability of resources and ability to use the resources. And focus more should be given on the submission, rather the attendance, or the combination of both. And it again connects to the formative assessment, ongoing assessment instead of the summative assessment, as our other learner member has just mentioned. And similarly, we have to create the more employment opportunities for the faculty, because we should not stress them. They are already overburdened, and if we are using them to recover the student loss, who are new students are coming to the university, it is not possible. And last point, we should the major impact, we should not ignore the differently able people. These people, these students, they were badly impacted, right? And the students who were high risk students, they went to the high risk level. So this was my point of view. I hope that I have covered some important points. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You have given the research analysis of the problem. It's really great to listen from you. You have pointed out many important topics, okay, which has come through the research, and you have discussed about the deviation, which is going to increase from 0.06 to 0.29. And that was really a big development. You also focused on personality development. You also talk about change in behavior. You talk about the motivational level of the children, lack of concentration. And also you talk about the peer influence, financial loss, all these about, you talked about many things. But actually the thing is that resources, I will just try to point out one important thing, that financial loss of the educational institution has been there. And here comes the importance of a responsibility of the government to help them up. Government should make up a plan, make up a program to help them up to restart or reestablish their losses, so that they can help their children, help their school children start as normal. This is one of the important responsibility of the government. Who else can provide them the financial help? Another important point that the government should do is to take the responsibility of training these children who will be addressing these problems that you have already pointed out. For personality development, you need another group of people to help them up to raise this one. So also change in behavior there, you need some psychologists to help them up to develop those things. So you need extra money, extra finance for doing all these things. So you have rightly pointed out these are the problem, and we are discussing here the problems, and we are also trying to find out the solution. So point wise, you have given a good information, and I will be now moving to Mirza Zaim for helping me up, or to the whole people over here. How do you think these problem, that one of the problem change in behavior of the student can be helped up? Okay, so how can you do something, or institution do something to help the student change their behavior, which has already taken place because of they are lazy to start, they are not going to mingle with the peers, they are influenced by the other peers. I give you example that I watched two video clips. One of the video clips were from a Bengali students in Bangladesh. So it shows me that the child was suffering from this corona. He wanted to study, but he's not getting any, he was not going to school. So he did what? He took the Android and he started learning his skill how to speak in English. And it has been seen that he is now able to speak a very good English, and started teaching. He make use of this time. There was another student, another clip which I watched, okay, was that the teacher, when the school opened, the teacher asked the child that, what did you learn during the corona? Then he started singing a very viral song, okay, which one, Kacha Badam, he started singing that one. It was all because of the different peers they were in. So societal impact they already have. So now we have to look into this and how to modify. Over to Mirza Zaim. You are free to speak. Any other topic to include over here, you are free. So over to Mirza Zaim.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. It's a very interesting question you have given me to talk about. Before that, I will just put in and pour in some of my points to add into what other panelists have talked about. And they have pretty much given a lot of details about what has been happening since the start of the pandemic, and how we are overcoming everything now, and some of the ideas also popped in during the discussion. I have another aspect to talk about before we move on to what you asked about, how we can change the behavior and overcome the issues that transited into the students during the pandemic, and how we can cope up with them. So one thing we couldn't focus about in the discussion was related to examination structure during the pandemic. So when the pandemic arrived and we moved to online learning, we transited to online examination, and so we moved everything, we changed everything, we changed the structure of the classroom, and we changed this structure of delivering the classes, and having discussions with these students and stuff, but we didn't change the structure of examination, which I think we didn't focus in terms of educational institutions. So the structure remained the same. We started to prepare the exams in the same way like we did in classroom examination structure, and we delivered the examination in the same way, which I think I think Dr. Tariq Yunus also talked about that. There are many institutions in the Western world. They have already adopted to online learning and stuff, like even way before pandemic, and their examination structure is very different. It's not necessary to have a full-fledged final exam for all the courses, but here for most of the institutions that I have seen, even during the pandemic, we were taking like full-fledged exams, like giving the normal questions, asking the students to fill up the Word files and sending them back to us for grading, which affected the learning of the students, because many of the panelists spoke about like students couldn't learn a lot, and we couldn't focus about on the growth of the students. So one of the aspect of students not growing in terms of knowledge was the same examination structure. So I remember, during my bachelor's degree, my university, Fast National University, we had director, Professor Dr. Zubair Ahmad Sheikh. He is nowadays Vice Chancellor, Vice President of Maju University in Karachi. And I remember that he used to take, I studied one course from him, and he used to take online examination, like during that time, in 2000, back in 2013, I think. And he used to give us the exam for 24 hours, take home exam, and we take it home, and we solve the exam, and we take it back and submit it back to him for grading. So that exam was not a traditional exam. It was an opinion based examination. So all the questions in the exam were like, what is your opinion about this? How would you change this? How would you, think about this situation, and how would you solve this situation from computing and stuff like that. So even if we are sitting with our students, with our classmates, with our friends and solving that exam, still then we will write our own answer, which I think which is one of the strategy to do the online examination. But now, I mean, during the pandemic, I have seen many of the faculty members, I mean, preparing the same examination, which they used to prepare for in classroom exams. And it was very easy to solve for the students because they were sitting together, and they were solving the exams and submitting them. So which then gave rise to another aspect which we focus in academics, try to cope up with it, which is plagiarism. So I mean, ethically, there was a lot of loss in terms of education. So students were sharing answers and solving the exams together, uh, which also has to be focused upon in order to solve it. So now they have transited back to the campus, and now they are habitual of taking the exams like that, and now they are struggling, obviously. So now they are coming up with practices like giving medical certificates, sick leaves, and to give the exams online to gain the grades, which has really happened with a few of my students. Like previously in the last semester, two of my students, they gave online final exam, and rest of them gave it on campus. So there was a real difference in the grades of the online exam. People who gave online took the exam online, and people who took the exam on campus. So I think now coming back to your question, so one more thing was lack of concentration, which somebody else also talked about in the classes, which also contributed toward the loss of students, because most of the students just came to the class for the attendance, and they were sleeping in the class, most of them. I'm pretty much sure that you might have observed this in your classes as well, and it has happened in with me many a times. One of the incident I still remember, the student slept, and her microphone was on, and she was snoring in my class. So I could know that the student is sleeping. So these are the things that really change the behavior of these students in terms of education system, or their perspective towards education. So this connects me to your point, that how can we contribute towards transiting them back, or changing their behavior in terms of learning, or helping them out to focus towards knowledge. So my idea, or what I think, is that we should still follow the hybrid approach of education system. We should give them the option to take the classes online, or come to the campus, and even for the examination. But then there is one thing which Dr. Azim also talked about, which is extra burden on the faculty and understaffing. So we need to focus on staffing more faculty members, and so that we can reduce the burden that is coming on to the faculty in terms of handling this hybrid situation. So if we come up with this hybrid approach, and we establish like something like teaching learning centers in the universities, which I think are there in many of the upper class universities nowadays, and even in Western universities, we have teaching and learning support centers. So we should establish them, and we should guide the students in terms of how they should take the examinations, and how they I mean, ethical aspect of education. If they don't have ethics in the education, they will never gain the knowledge, for sure. So ethics is directly connected, in my opinion, with the knowledge. If you want to gain knowledge, you should remain ethical, and you should follow good ethics in order to gain knowledge in education. So teaching and learning centers could be helpful in guiding these students, and we need to change our examination structure. We really need to change our examination structure, which I think is, there are many bodies associated in it. It's not only the faculty members who are following the examination structure in the education system, and not only the universities, but there are other bodies involved in terms of setting up the examination structure. For example, the accreditation bodies which accredit the universities. Sometimes we are restricted by the accreditation bodies in order to follow a certain structure for our classes and for our examinations. So I think we need to focus on this from top to bottom. So I think I will keep it short here, and I will hand it over back to you, Dr. Saab. And I believe that my ideas of discussion would be helpful for us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mirza. You have all rightly pointed out one of the missing points which nobody has discussed or taken up. That's about the examination system, the online exams. It was really a big issue for everyone. So you have already suggested, or you given your example of your teacher used to give exam. Hope that faculty will think about the innovative idea to put the question or ask the question to the children, so that they will not be able to cheat anyway. There are also some organizations, they help the institution in conducting the examination. The university or the government will take their helps nowadays. There are also some kind of software where the cheating will not be easily done by the student. They will be caught up, and once they are caught up, they should be rusticated from the university. Once such examples are given, this will can be minimized, but cannot be abolished, but can surely be minimized. So you have given a good point, and also you have suggested a hybrid approach. I think it is going to be the fate of the education system now. It will not go to the normal very easily. It will continue for a long time as a hybrid one, because the student will find a reason to go online. So thank you very much, Mr. Zaim. You gave us a very good information, missing point. Now we'll move to Dr. Wasim to help us explain his own experience regarding the actually what is happening now. I was thinking that the problem and the solution is separate, but I'm finding it is complementary. The problem is coming up, solution is also coming up. So actually I'm dealing both the things together. So not only I could not separate this problem and solutions, both are coming together. So over to Dr. Wasim. Please give your own opinion about the problems and their mitigation process. Over to Dr. Wasim.
Thank you very much, Dr. Riaz Saab. I'm really happy that I attended this discussion and listened to so many different perspectives, which one single head could not have thought of. So that's the beauty, and I really appreciate it. Okay, first of all. The second thing is that maybe I would start with the last thing first, that referring to Dr. Tariq Rahim Somro, he suggested that there are so many gains. So maybe we had a discussion more on the loss side today. Let's have a discussion on the gains or the benefits, or if you allow me, then the blessings of online learning. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is that I know it was very challenging, and overnight things changed. And overnight, actually, education became teacher-centric after so many decades of work to make the education student-centric. However, we were caught unawares, actually, but only we are to be blamed for that. I remember, and I'm very happy that Dr. Muhammad Azim is here. It's about 12 years ago, or 11 or 13. He used to talk a lot about online learning and Moodle. I heard Moodle from him first time. He even showed me how it works 10, 12 years, but there were no takers. Nobody listened to him. And we were all caught unawares. But thanks to this facility of online learning, that I wasn't jobless overnight, because we started teaching online from the next morning. As you were mentioning, right, Dr. Azim, that you got a notice, and from tomorrow onwards, you were going to be teaching online. However, I think that let's not look at it as an aberration. That's something that should not have been. I'm not talking about pandemic. I'm talking about online learning as an aberration, as something undesirable, that it should not happen. Maybe this thing has actually fast forwarded us. Probably we should have been there 15, 20 years before, but never mind, we are fast forwarded to this. So now let's not throw the baby with the bathtub. So I would concur with Ms. Zaim and everyone else who suggested that let's accept it as a reality that the hybrid will go on. And even if there are 20 students and all of them are on campus, let's find a way to engage them, to interact with them even offline, and take the learning experience outside the four walls of the classroom somehow, and in a creative and imaginative way. So I would say that quite futuristically, organizations and educational institutions have to think creatively, imaginatively, to make the best out of this facility that has come up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wasim. Really, you have given a very good information about that. We should not look behind. We should always move forward. What we are facing, we should accept it gladly and try to give our contribution to this. So you have suggested, and rather you have seconded, the hybrid approach that Mr. Zaim already suggested. So thank you very much, Dr. Wasim. Now I will be moving to Tayyab Naumani, the head of the Urdu department of Bhairav Ganguly College. Give your opinion about, as a head of department, what did you do during this pandemic to help your students, and what are the problems you faced? You can be speak at the language of your choice.
Yes, sir. The scenario of my country is quite different from your country. Yeah, you are serving there. Actually, I'm at Calcutta here. I'm a teacher in Calcutta in a college. If you allow me, I would like to express my feeling, my experience in my mother tongue in Urdu, because I यहाँ की हुकूमत ने ये ऐलान किया है कि आप स्कूल खोल दें, और स्कूल खुल भी गया. मेरी वाइफ भी एक टीचर है एक स्कूल में. शी इज आल्सो a teacher in primary school here. और यहाँ हर एक क्लास को 2 दिन सिर्फ बुलाया जा रहा है बच्चों को, और ये 2 सालों में जो बच्चे क्लास 1 में थे अभी 4 में है. तो अभी मेरी वाइफ ये बता रही है कि वो बच्चे अब लिखना भी भूल गए, जानते नहीं, और पढ़ना तो कुछ वो सीख चुके हैं, पढ़ रहे हैं, लेकिन वो लिखने की कोशिश भी नहीं कर रहे. वो बच्चों को कोशिश करवा रहे हैं कि वो लिखना सीखे. तो ये नुकसान हुआ है. यहाँ पे ऑनलाइन क्लास का मतलब ये है कि बच्चों को, जैसा कि रियाज सर ने बताया कि 90% बच्चों या फिर गार्जियंस के पास स्मार्टफोन नहीं है, और स्पेशली द स्टूडेंट्स, जो स्टूडेंट यहाँ प्राइमरी गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में पढ़ते हैं, उनकी हालत बहुत खराब है. इसलिए कि गवर्नमेंट टीचर को सैलरी मिलती है, लेकिन बहुत से टीचर उतने सीरियस नहीं है कि बच्चों को वो पढ़ाएं. बहुत से टीचर बहुत संजीदा भी हैं, दे आर वेरी सीरियस टू टीच स्टूडेंट्स. लेकिन ऐसे बहुत से उस्ताद हैं जो इसको एक पिकनिक की तरह या फिर एक छुट्टी की तरह उन्होंने गुजारा है 2 सालों में, और वो पढ़ाना भी भूल चुके हैं. तो ये अफसोस की बात है कि वो सैलरी लेते हैं लेकिन पढ़ाने से उनको ताल्लुक नहीं रखे. वो बहुत से टीचर ऐसे हैं, मैं ये ऐसे कई टीचरों को जानता हूँ. उसमें मैं तारीफ करना नहीं चाहूंगा अपनी वाइफ को कि वो मुझसे रोज इस बात पर डिस्कस करती है कि बच्चों को कैसे सिखाया जाए. मेरे घर में, अपने घर में बुला करके चुपके से बच्चों को, यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट की बड़ी पाबंदी थी कि आप बच्चों से मिलिए भी नहीं, फिर भी बुला करके घर पे अलग से पढ़ाना और सिखाने की कोशिशें जारी रही 2 सालों तक. और यहाँ पे मैं खुद एक टीचर हूँ और चूंकि डिपार्टमेंट का हेड भी हूँ. यहाँ सर ऑनलाइन एग्जाम, आपके यहाँ ऑनलाइन एग्जाम का मतलब अलग है, यहाँ ऑनलाइन एग्जाम का मतलब क्वाइट डिफरेंट. यहाँ बच्चे अपने घर से बैठ करके वो पूरा स्पेशली लैंग्वेज क्लास लैंग्वेज के एग्जाम में बच्चे अपने घर में बैठ करके उनका जवाब कोई और भी लिखता है, बच्चे खुद लिखते हैं। गवर्नमेंट अनऑफिशियली हम लोगों को ये कहा गया है कि आप सबको पास करिए। अटेंडेंस का 5 मार्क्स हर एक पेपर में वो दे देना है, आपको 60 to 70% मार्क्स उसको दे ही देना। आप मजबूर हैं नंबर देने पे कि वो तमाम आंसर वो किताब देखकर लिखते हैं, किसी और से लिखवाते हैं। हमारे पास जो पीडीएफ्स आते हैं तो उसको हम लोग देख करके बस कुछ कर नहीं सकते कि हम मजबूर हैं। हमारे पास इस तरह की मजबूरी है कि हम उसको बयान नहीं कर सकते। मैं अभी कॉलेज में क्लास ले रहा हूँ और लेकिन बहुत से बच्चियों या बच्चों को मैं महसूस करता हूँ कि उनको 2 साल में जो उनकी तरक्की होनी चाहिए थी वो नहीं हो पाई है। उनको जिस लेवल पे जाना चाहिए था, या अगर मैं पीजी की क्लास में जो मास्टर्स की क्लास में मैं पीजी में ले रहा हूँ तो उनको वो ग्रेजुएशन लेवल से भी कम के स्टूडेंट है। मतलब वो उनकी जो ज़हनत है, उनकी जो सोच है या फिर लिटरेचर को लेकर के उनको जैसी उनकी बात जहाँ तक उनको सोचना चाहिए था, आज मैं ये महसूस करता हूँ कि 2 साल में जो नुकसान हुआ है उसकी भरपाई बहुत बहुत मुश्किल है। फिर भी हम लोग ऑनलाइन अगरचे हम लोग क्लास लेते रहे, हम हमारी हाजिरी भी वहाँ सबमिट हमको करना पड़ता है और सब कुछ वो गूगल फॉर्मेट से वो अटेंडेंस शीट फिलअप करना पड़ता है, उनको दिखाना भी पड़ता है। लेकिन बच्चे और बच्चियों के साथ मसला है कि एक किसी के पास सेल फोन है, एक दो के पास फोन नहीं है तो कोई किसी के यहाँ जाकर क्लास करता है। अगर नहीं भी कोई करता है तो हमको ये मजबूरी है, हमको उनको पास करना है। और अभी जो स्कूल खोला गया है यहाँ पे वो 2 दिन बुलाया जा रहा है बच्चों को और गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से ये कहा गया है कि आप बच्चों को या फिर बच्चियों को आप पढ़ने से ज्यादा उनको सोशल एक्टिविटी की तरफ आप ज्यादा ध्यान दीजिए कि वो गाना गाएं, वो पेंटिंग करना चाहते हो पेंटिंग करें, वो कुछ भी करना चाहते हैं आप उनको क्लास में एक बेंच पे 2-2 बच्चों को बैठाएं और उनको ताकि उनका अभी फिलहाल वो उनका उनकी तबीयत लगे, उनका मन लगे स्कूल आने और जाने। तो ये आप सोचिए ये कितनी मजबूरी है कि वो बच्चे जिनको जरूरत थी तालीम हासिल, जिनको टीचर की जिम्मेदारी है कि वो बच्चों को पढ़ाएं, वो मजबूर हो गए कि उनको वो इस तरह से उनको दिलचस्पी कायम की जाए कि वो स्कूल आना सीखें। ये हमारे यहाँ के हालात हैं, बहुत बुरा हाल है। और बहुत से अब भी जब स्कूल खोल दिया गया तो बहुत से बच्चे 50 to 60% बच्चे आज भी स्कूल नहीं आ रहे हैं। अगरचे यहाँ के गवर्नमेंट स्कूलों में, मैं प्राइवेट स्कूल की बात नहीं करूंगा कि वहाँ पे ऑनलाइन क्लासेस होते हैं, जो गार्जियन अपने बच्चों को प्राइवेट स्कूलों में भेजते हैं उनके पास ये सलाहियत है ये कि वो उनके पास लैपटॉप्स है, स्मार्टफोन्स हैं और लॉट्स ऑफ फैसिलिटीज दे आर अवेलिंग। बट लेकिन हमारे यहाँ जो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में जो बच्चे पढ़ते हैं उनकी हालत बहुत अच्छी नहीं है। आज वो स्कूल नहीं आते, हफ्ते में उनको, महीने में उनको राशन के नाम पे बहुत सारी चीजें मिलती है यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से। उनको यूनिफॉर्म मिल रहा है, उनको जूते मिलते हैं, उनको किताबें फ्री मिलती है, उनको खाने के लिए रोजाना सारी चीजें मिलती है। फिर भी बच्चे नहीं आ रहे हैं। महीने में एक दिन गार्जियन जाकर के पूछते हैं कि हमारा राशन कब मिलेगा। ये उनको इतना बच्चों, गार्जियन भी इसके लिए जिम्मेदार है कि वो उनको ये होश नहीं है कि हमारे बच्चों को स्कूल भी जाना है, मैं लेकर के जाऊं। तो ये सारी परेशानी है। अब इसका हल क्या हो कि टीचर पे यकीनी तौर पर ये जिम्मेदारी है कि वो बच्चों को सिखाएं और बच्चों को जितना मुमकिन हो सके वो पढ़ने की तरफ रागिब करे। टीचर इसमें भरपूर कोशिश स्कूल खुलने के बाद कर रहे हैं, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हुकूमत की तरफ से जो पाबंदियां आयद की गई उसकी वजह से टीचर भी बहुत ज्यादा परेशानी के शिकार है। कि अभी कहा गया है यहाँ पे कि आप ओपन स्पेस में क्लास लीजिए। अब बहुत से यहाँ पे स्कूलों में मसला है कि ओपन स्पेस है नहीं, छोटे छोटे स्कूल है, छोटी छोटी बस्तियों में जगह है और तंग गलियां हैं, बहुत परेशानी है। तो इन तमाम हालात में टीचर भी परेशान, स्टूडेंट भी परेशान और गार्जियन भी परेशान है कि कैसे क्लास ले और क्या करे। इन्हीं चंद बातों के साथ मैं अपनी बात अभी यहाँ पे खत्म करता हूँ। शुक्रिया। Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Tayyab. You have given a very good information about back home. Actually, we are running out of time. We have already crossed this one, but I will be just saying like this, like in this country nowadays, the supermarket or hypermarket, they bring the customer by giving them discount. So the government is also trying to make them integrate into the school by taking them outside and making them playway methods and they want to bring them home because integration is one of the most important requirement for them. So you already given now. I would like to ask the panelist over here, would you allow me to give some audience to ask question, because the time is 8:10. So let us take at least one question from
Please,
the
Dr. Saab, go ahead.
audience, so that the
Dr.
format will
Riaz,
complete.
Dr. Riaz,
Yes.
Dr. Azim,
Yeah.
can I be the one of the audience to raise one question?
Yes. Okay. Well, but let me give first outside, and then I will come to you. Outside, they are the right. They are listening from long 1.5 hours.
I think, sir,
So-
here with us, here is Dr. Sheikh Almas Hussain is here. He is also a HOD of in a college at Calcutta.
Okay. Let him
I
ask.
am requesting Mr. Professor Dr. Almas Hussain, please, if you are listening in, and please
Ask your
join
question
us.
if you have to anyone. Dr. Almas, are you there?
Yes. Good evening, all of you.
Good evening.
I'm audible.
Yes. You are audible.
I was listening everything. I have been very much privileged that you have invited me in this such a good program, panel discussion. I have been enriched a lot by the speakers, those who gave the lecture or their opinion on the education. So I would like to say only that I have got a lot of knowledge from this panel discussion, and I think this kind of panel discussion should go on and on, because this is a very worst time for the student in everywhere in this world, in Calcutta, in India, in abroad, everywhere they are getting so much problems. I know I'm also facing the problem with the students. They are telling so many problems to us, but we are trying our best to cope up with them and try to solve their problem and try to make them very good, and try to feel that you have passed the COVID. Now you come to the college and do your best and try to improve your mind. I'm talking about my college, not about the student in the schools. So we need to do this is the right time for us, for the teachers, to work in this pandemic. After opening the schools, we need to do hard work with our children, with our students, to make them comfortable and make them a normal student once again in this pandemic. That all I want to say.
So you have any question? You have any question to anyone?
No, I don't. I don't
Okay,
have
thank
any
you. Thank you very much, Dr. Almas. You have given your opinion, and you have also shown your commitment. May God help you in doing your best to help your students in your college. Dr. Lipika Malik, do you have any question?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I am very much delighted to all this and know everything about the pandemics. Sir, you know, I teach mathematics in the
Yes.
college
Yes.
and also HOD of the department.
Yes.
I feel very much difficulty in teaching mathematics by online,
Yes.
because on online mathematics is very difficult for understanding the students. Some time they are told me that they have no data to buy. They have no data to buy. Then I have to buy some data for them. So they have the difficulties, and we have also the difficulties, because online actually we are practicing chalk and duster method, but by online we cannot have the chalk and duster method. We just shared the screen, but by sharing screen they actually don't understand the logical screening of the mathematics. And I am from the applied mathematics ground. So between the lines, they don't understand. This is the much more difficulty. And by the online method, the examination, it is also very much difficulty. As Dr. Tayak Nwani said, I am also agreed with him.
So your question
Thank
is
you,
to
sir.
whom? To whom you are asking this question? Name
Sir,
you,
to
ma'am.
you,
to
to
me?
you, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, okay. Look here, I'm sharing with you something. Can you see something here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me share. Let me share to you something. It will help you surely and certainly. Dishan? Mirza, just allow me to share here.
Just a second, doctor. Let me try to make you the host, maybe.
Yes. Allow me to share because this is very important question, which every
Sure.
mathematics people.
Can you try, doctor, now?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I'm just trying to show her, which will help her sure. Look, this is what the Dr. Azim was always talking about. This is called Moodle. Okay. Look what we do over here. I upload the lectures to the student. Okay. So this is, they are getting a lecture. Do you see Dr. Lipika? Dr. Lipika, are you seeing this?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So this is the first we upload the what you call the PDF file. Okay. Then we do what?
Yes, sir.
Then we write something on the OneNote, and that is going like we teach with them through the pen. Okay. And we teach like as I'm teaching on the board. So they are already
Okay.
seeing this, they're seeing this, my doing, and if it is required, then I go to the board. So whatever I'm teaching them, they are already looking at this together. Okay. Any diagram I can make here, any kind of diagram I can make with the pen. Okay. So whatever we used to do in the board, we can do over here. And this is also a save and send it to them. So this will help them. Now also there is one more thing, that they are getting the recordings. They're also getting the recordings of what I'm teaching. So I think if you do this way, I think they will ask you always to teach online, because this is here what the topic I'm teaching. They are going at home and revising them. So they are feeling great because of this. Take it a point that you are not going to back in the full-fledged on-campus classes. This is difficult now because of the many other issues. So you have to get adapted to this process. I think you will be getting a lot of benefit this way. You can draw any diagram, you can do anything on the OneNote. So I have given you some idea. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
did you understand
Yes,
me?
sir.
So I can communicate.
Yes,
I can
yes, sir.
contact you later. I can contact you later, and
Okay.
I will show
Yes,
you
sir.
what to do.
Victor, can
So
you,
hope it will be done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, now Dr. Azim,
Victor?
this your time to ask question.
can I comment on this issue?
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Can,
Yes, doctor, quickly.
Dr. Riaz,
Yes. Yes,
can I
okay,
comment
doctor.
on this issue, right? Yes, yeah. Actually, from our experience when we were working together in ICD, in
Yes.
UAE, right? And the same problem at that time in the students, they attended face-to-face, right? Or any class.
Yes, I'm hearing it.
Right.
I'm with you, doctor.
And I told you that time, we have to move from teaching and from student or faculty center to the student center. We have to focus on student learning, right?
Yes, doctor.
So and I told you at that time, mostly our faculties, when they deliver their lectures, they waste their time by writing a lot of things and repeating the same formulas in the blackboard. Okay?
Yes.
And I told you that at that time, in the mathematics or any other courses, there is a instructor manual, and attached with this manual a lot of software. So software is available. Some of them are free of charge. They can use it, and some of them by exactly when they acquire the book or buy the book, they attach with it the software and solutions. Why this has happened at that time before COVID? Because they focus on teaching by doing. This approach shifted the level of education in Japan on the 80s and 90s to be overweighing the level of teaching in America and other European countries, because the students, they used to memorize. And the new approach in education, they used to teach students how to apply by creating their own idea, by creating their task or jobs based on the doing the things through the software. I am with this approach, but not with the approach that have been applied since 50 years or 60 years back, because the problem at that time, the students, they forced to memorize things. So in this issue, this is my opinion.
Yeah. No, yes, you are right.
And when you came to my class in business, the first time I qualified the laboratory for students in the business, and I assigned every to the students to use it, every class, and I delivered the courses. 20% has gone to the theory, and 80% has gone to the applications. And even in the exams, when I give, for instance, projects, I have 25 students. I give them, I assigned for them 25 projects, and every student has to deal with or enroll in his project, and by the end he has to submit his output and the final answers to my website, right?
Correct, doctor. Correct. You are very right.
This is better. And now, once there is a COVID and we have a problem, so the solution in this way is better.
Yes. You are very. I am witness of your way of learning. You have been doing this. Yeah. Thank you very much to share this. And I would like to thank you very much to you. Dr. Nitin Upadhyay has joined us from long time, but Dr. Nitin Upadhyay, would you like to have any question or suggestion to give? Just in brief, it's you to give, because Dr. Azim is waiting to ask question. He is a professor in Manipal University. He was a guest with us in the last session. This time he is going to give his opinion or ask question. Let's listen to him. Dr. Nitin Upadhyay.
Thank you, Dr. Riaz. From last means the whole session, I was listening to all the valid points of all the people panel, and the problems we have faced a lot. And when COVID started, no one was expecting that it will continue for so long, and so no one was prepared. And still, we are not prepared. Means at the grassroots level, all the information, all the like small mobile or laptop, and then data pack, and all these things are really grassroots problems are there. So. But my question is something different. I want to ask to any panelist if Mohammad Nazim sir will try to answer, because he has vast experience. We are presently focusing on memory-based examination. So we are judging students based on memory-based. In India, many places we are having open book exam. And like Mr. Mirza also talked, Zaim also talked about project or something like that, open book something. So is it not the right time to review our whole education system, which we are focusing on only memorizing the question answer, writing there and getting the marks, rather than to shift it? I know it is not easy to shift completely towards project based or some activity based assignment or working something. So at least the pressure on memorizing and classwork and all these things we can minimize. So I know pandemics, maybe hopefully after 1 year or 6 months, we are wishing, we wish and we are praying it will go. Again, we will go
Dr.
back to
Riaz,
the.
Yes,
Dr. Riaz, I think Dr. Nitin has very nicely
yes,
done
you
his
can
job.
answer. You can.
I would not only answer, rather I will use his question as input to my question as well.
Okay, okay,
So,
no problem. No
yeah,
problem.
thank you, Dr. Nitin. In fact,
Thank you, sir.
when we are talking about the education system, so one way or the others, we are all the beneficiary of this system. So we are all trying to protect the education without compromising on this education system, because in the end, we feel that we will be affected. My question is, shouldn't we free the education from the existing education system? Why don't we have our own every teacher, every university, every institution, based on the context, based on the students, based on the environment we are going through? Let's education define or allow to define the education system instead of the education system is defining our education. And all our discussion becomes invalid if we come from the other side.
Doctor, thank you very much. Could you just briefly explain what your question is? What do you mean by defined by the children's education system, or students are defined by existing education? Could you just give a little bit explanation?
Yeah,
Then I will come.
What is happening? We are talking about the education, the improvement of education, the loss in education.
Correct.
Based on, without compromising on the education system, which is
Correct.
providing the education. My concern is, we should free the education from the education system, these embargoes, these conditions. Rather, education should define the education system, not the education system should define the education. This is the question.
Exactly. This is
Very good, Doctor.
very true. Very true.
Very good, Doctor.
Very true.
Now,
Very true.
look, Doctor, every country, every system of education need to have some gradings to be given to the student that after studying these things, he has successfully covered this and he is eligible to move forward to the next class. So there must be a system of learning, teaching and learning process has to be defined. Okay, the no government is capable of doing this at this point of time, because one student, I remember one student came to me because I was an education advisor. He told me, I want to take the calculus 1, calculus 2 and calculus 3 together, which is not allowed in the system, because there is a prerequisite, and then you will complete the prerequisite, then you will go to the next lesson. Calculus 1 is prerequisite of calculus 2, calculus 2 is prerequisite of calculus 3. So how he can be allowed? Now, if you, for example, if this student allows, I can accept that he's capable of doing this, and I have done these things in many cases, but how it can be generalized and every individual will be given their own choice to learn. Somebody will want, I want this course, and right now, how the school system will manage themselves to provide them a maximum number of teachers for each student. There is going to be a kind of chaos. Yes.
Dr. Riaz, me
yes,
and you,
okay. Look.
And most of us, we are born with this system. We are developed in this system. We cannot think other than this system. This is the problem.
Yeah, you are very right, sir. But there, like for example, as Dr. Tariq pointed out, that we are using the what you call the e-learning long back 20 years. But that time nobody was listening to. Now the time has come. Now time has come. People are accepting. In my class, students are saying, no, sir, teach me online. Teach me online, because they have now got into a real problem. Human being is like that. Because human being
Dr.
is like this.
Dr. Riaz, I think we are going to a different direction. My last point, do we need really do we need schools? Really do we need universities? Can't we think something else? This is my point.
No, no, we can think. For thinking, you're allowed to do. I mean, the question is how it can be implemented. How the government will capture how many students are getting these degrees, how will they arrange for their employment, how will they do all other future planning from here to there, and all these are already well thought of programs and process. Now you have to develop a completely new process. Now for this, you need a lot of money, a lot of resources. In one student, like we are adjusting nowadays, for one student, 40, more than 120 hours of lecture. He is only taking 1/3 of that with one teacher, and he is taking as office hours. Do you think he is going to learn all these things? That huge course, and we are adjusting, we are trying to help them, but he is not learning, in fact. So because when he will be graded, 1 minute, Doctor, when he will be graded according to the others. So in that case, he is given chance, but how he is receiving the education, this is the problem. I accept your question is very valid. Change is the law of nature. It should be always changing. We should always, education teaches us to think alternatively, because critical thinking, alternative thinking is part of the education. But the question is, how it can be implemented is the most important problem. A question is acceptable, but a question will arise immediately, how to implement this. And there is so many millions of students, for the requirement of each one, how can a government and institution will be able to fix it? Okay, I think
the answer is ready. The answer is ready.
Yes, sir.
The answer is ready. You go to the system in China, you see,
Yes.
you see that, okay, go to the system and find that how many, even the more than 1 billion, right?
Yes.
If you go to them and find that why they are succeeded in, educating people, very highly talented people, and they make, they change the world economy and the technology. This is the issue. Sometimes we say that there is no money. We just refer our problems to the economic base. Look, doctor, if any education, if any school, if they put the priority for education and focusing, especially in the COVID, on learning rather than teaching only, okay, they have to put the priority for educating people, teaching people, and provide them or support them with all the infrastructure needed for the right learning. This is as we as academicians, as a researcher, right? We never believe that there is a problem here on the world. Problem, yes. If you want to make progress, to focus on some problems, you can focus it. You can justify. But the real problem that the education needs intense investment in this sector.
Correct.
Give me a high quality of education. I give you within the next 20 years as strategic planner where your country will be, because the education is most important everywhere, and this is from the other countries or experiences in other countries. Now, United Arab Emirates, they focus on education. How many universities in the United Arab Emirates? How many schools? Sometimes I visited some schools. I found this is not a school, this is a university, because they are invested too much. The private sector is wisely planned, and they are competing based on this one. I'm with you that there is economic problem, but we have to find how we find the solution for the economy in order to make other things working together or supporting together. Economy is not the base. Education is the base. Give me your education standard, I give you where your country will be in the next 20 years. And that's it. This is a problem.
Yes, Doctor. Yeah. Yes, you're very. Thank you very much, Dr. Azim. You have raised a very good question, very important question, and hopefully you have thrown a stone into the water. Rippling effect will take place. People will come forward to find a solution for this one, and hopefully it is in your mind. It is actually reached to many people now. I'm also going to accept your question, and I will be also happy to implement this. But as of now, I'm thinking is the process, how it can be implemented. That was my only point of concern. But I do agree with your question. Why not to release the education for the student a student to decide education, student to decide the education, not the education to decide the student's career. So really, this was a very nice experience with you all. Is there anyone who want to ask any question?
I want to tell you one thing, doctor. Only one line.
Okay.
When we were producing mass production,
Yes.
first time when Japanese talked about just in time, single piece production,
Yes.
everyone questioned it is not possible. But now everyone is moving towards just in time, single piece production.
Yeah.
So when we talk about present education system, it is mass production. All 60 students sitting in a classroom, learning the same ABCD, FGH, and moving to the next class, learning to next something. So it is a mass production. We are producing in mass. Definitely, it is also a good system. But just in time, maybe one method is we talk about student-centric education.
Yes,
that was my
correct,
point.
Correct, you are doctor. Actually, the educationists had defined the education goes through from known to unknown, from simple to complex. So how can you advance without taking the help of what you have? This is one of the important thing. So we are now getting like, for example, previously Newtonian mechanics was everybody was accepting. But now due to the quantum mechanics came, all the Newtonian rules failed. So it is the time of when it will be changing. And of course, change is the law of nature. What you have suggested, it will take place when the people will be looking for themselves to know a particular thing. Now people are thinking like the industry-based educations. Okay, skill-based education. Why the student will learn everything when he is going to work as a mechanic, for example? Why he will learn all these things? So there are such thoughts where the people are working, but because of the feasibility study is not allowing them to hand it over. I am going to become a clerk. Why I will study mathematics too much? Why I will study chemistry? Why I will study physics? Okay, and all these things. Why not only give me training on how to handle the customer in bank and all these? So this is happening. People are learning something, getting a job somewhere. This is happening. This is due to some other constraints. Okay, but the thought is very good. A research scholar should think. You are a most important research scholar. Your thought is very nice, very important. Hope the community and the government will think about this. Inshallah, this will come up. So, Dr. Azim, do you have anything more to say?
Sir, this is an interesting debate. I would love to stay, but I have some urgent requirement because my family is waiting in other room.
Okay. So I'm just giving everybody time. We can discuss this because this is very good. I'm also interested in, and I would like to contact you and discuss this problem to you. So, I think we tried our best to solve the problems. We have come up many solutions because all of the
Mr. Almas have some important assignment. He want to leave, sir.
Okay. Just finish your 2 minutes only. 2 minutes. I'm going to wind up.
Sir.
2 minutes. So I'm just giving concluding remark. Many ideas came up through the learned panelists. They have suggested they are not found out the problem. They have also given the suggestions, and all the suggestions were very valuable. Hope the people will take it up. Government will think about this. People will think about this. But actually, the problem is so huge, so difficult to solve. That's why it will continue to go, and the impact of this will not finish 1 year, 2 years. It will go. It is some report. It is saying insurmountable. It will go. It will go for many years. But whatever we could do, we have tried to find out. So hopefully, we have tried. Our panelists have given some good suggestion. It is good, important ideas take to the listeners. So thank you very much, all. You have given me your time, 1.5 hours. That is going to be 2 hours. Your valuable time. I'm very much thankful to you. So I will like now to say, you all, a goodbye, a good night. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for all of you.
Great
All attendees.
Goodbye, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Allah
much.
Hafiz. Good night. Good night.
Thank you.
Wonderful panel discussion. I am fortunate enough that I am a part of such a delight persons are here. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank
Bye.
you, everyone.
Allah
We will have
Hafiz.
another session, another
Bye.
topic after, say, 15 or 20 days.
Inshallah,
You
inshallah.
know,
Okay, sir.
Dr. Tariq had more to say. Everyone had more to say. And we would
Dr.
really be
Tariq, you
happy.
don't know Dr. Tariq. Dr. Tariq is, Yani, I'm his student. I was his follower.
No, doctor, sorry for that. Doctor, we learned from you too much, wallah. But you know, because this is a very value-added topic, so I am very happy because those distinctive scholars.
This 1.5
they are
hours is
attended,
not enough, doctor.
so
1.5
we
hours is
learn
not
from each
enough.
other.
Okay, but at least
Thank
we
you,
have
thank you, thank
we
you.
have started the peels of the onion. Okay, one peel. There is
Yeah,
so many.
yeah, yes, of course.
So
That's
many
it.
there. So many there to peel. Other people will take when the time will come. Hopefully,
Okay.
you know, I just leave you with one simple joke. Okay, the joke is like this.
Yes, okay.
A person went to the what you call the darzi. What do you call this in English? The
Taylor.
Tailor. Sorry,
Taylor.
tailor.
Yes.
He went to the tailor and asked him to make a cap. So he told me how much cloth will require. So he said it will require 1 meter. Then he has already experience from the other people say, no, these tailors are thief. They always ask more cloth than what they actually need. He said, no, I will not give you 1 meter. I will give you 50 centimeter only. Then the tailor was needs some job. He said, okay, give me 50 centimeter. So then he said, okay, how he did agree so quickly? No, I will give only 25 centimeter. Then what the tailor said, okay, I give me 25 centimeters. So he gave him 25 centimeters and he told him to come after 2 days. When he went to collect the cap, so he came, where is my cap? So he shows, your cap is here. Can you see my finger? He put the cap over here. He said, I want the cap for the head. You gave me the cap for the finger. But the size of the cap is proportionate to the cloth that you gave me. So we are tailor, we are tailors. We can be able to build up everything. Okay. We are master, we are tailor. What you suggest, what you give us, we will cook it out. We will produce it out. Okay. So we being instructor, we can do everything. Okay. So whatever you provide, we can deliver accordingly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Thank you, guys.
बड़ी
Thanks.
ख्वाहिश थी तारिक यूनुस सर को सुनने की। हम बहुत आपका सर नाम सुना था।
I will translate to him. I will translate to him.
Thank you.
He's praising you. He's praising you, doctor.
I'm
because he's
fortunate
praising a
enough,
lot.
sir, that listening you, sir.
I am
Tariq
happy to
Yunus, sir.
cooperate. Yeah. I'm happy to cooperate with everyone because we are, we have a mission. We have to serve all communities. Everyone.
Yes, doctor.
Thank you, sir.
So he
Thank
became
you.
a so busy person. He became agree to join with me. I'm thankful to him a lot.
Thank you, doctor.
Mirza.
Battery khatam. Battery gayi.
Bye-bye.
Battery gayi. Yaar sahab ab jaane
Okay,
dein.
now we'll be going out. Okay. And
Okay.
those who want to stay for 5 minutes to me, individual talk, just stay. Mirza, you stay for 5 minutes. Let other leave. Wasim Saab also. Doctor, you can leave now. You have not taken your.
Sir,
साहब कल यूनिवर्सिटी में मुलाकात करते हैं।
I want to leave, sir.
रियाज साहब जाने दे अब.
बस 2 मिनट बात करेंगे 2 मिनट. ओके तैयब तुम भी जा सकते हो. तुमको बोल रहे थे कहाँ जाना है.
कंप्यूटर से पूछ ले उसकी बैटरी जानी है.
मेरे लिए इंतजार कर रहे हैं लोग सर. मुझे
ठीक
शादी में जाना है अभी.
ठीक है जाओ सबको सलाम कहो मेरा. ठीक है
जी सर जी.
ओके
अल्लाह हाफिज सर.
अल्लाह करे आप. खुदा हाफिज. खुदा.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor. Thank you very much. I will communicate you later. Let you join in another such meeting. Okay, doctor.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.